Giancarlo Stanton going down with an injury is not necessarily pleasant news at all for New York Yankees fans. And it's going to potentially shift how playing time gets divided between the three outfield spots and the DH spot in the Yankees lineup. Who's going to fill in for Stanton in the lineup every day? Is it going to be a rotation of guys? We're going to discuss that all right here on Bleacher Brawls. My name is Derek. I'm here with John, and we're going to discuss the impact of the Giancarlo Stanton injury on the New York Yankees. So let's dive straight into it. So obviously, the Stanton injuries, it is a bit of a blow, obviously. He is, one of the Yankees' better players. So losing a guy anytime sucks. But what were your kind of initial thoughts to the injury and knowing that Stan's going to be out for a little while? What was your kind of thoughts to the news of that when it first happened?
Derek, do you know how he hurt his hamstring? He hurt his hamstring decelerating. Like he was slowing down, and that's how he hurt his hamstring. My initial thought when I heard that news was just like, oh, this guy's never going to stay healthy. I've given him the benefit of the doubt. I've hoped and hoped with Stanton, and this guy's never going to. You got hurt. You pulled your hamstring slowing down, dude. I don't know. So I think he's out for probably a while, like at least a month, maybe two. You're not going to see him in the lineup again anytime soon. I think the Yankees can weather it, though. So I'm looking forward to talking about that.
Yeah,
What do
definitely.
you think? Do you think he's going to be out for long?
I think he'll be out for definitely a decent amount of time. Also, too, you don't want to mess with hamstrings. You'd rather take them slow than rush a guy back from a hamstring. So there's also that side of it where you're looking, you go, let's not rush him back because we'd want to lower the chance of him getting re-aggravating the injury. But I think the Yankees, they can cope with this. It's not like a total wash. Obviously, Oswald Peraza got called up. He is a middle infielder. He's not an outfielder. He won't be factoring into the outfield discussion. But you look at this Yankees roster, and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa has played 24 innings in the outfield this year. They're kind of seemingly going to want to play him in center a little bit this year. So he can be an option. It seems like Oswaldo Cabrera now will be playing every day in the outfield. Like, that's a guarantee now. Then you have your mix of guys like Aaron Hicks, Franchy Cordero, and Willie Calhoun, where playing time could start to open up for those guys, and maybe one of those guys can grab a spot, even if it's just temporarily getting a hot streak. Like Franchy Cordero has been in this kind of hot streak, and he had especially that like one really, really hot part of that like week where he hit like 3 homers in like a week or whatever. So maybe it's not one guy necessarily grabbing it the whole time. Maybe Franchy gets hot, and then Willie Calhoun gets hot. Then Isaiah Kiner-Falefa gets hot. Then, Aaron Hicks gets hot because Aaron Hicks, we know he's very streaky. He's extremely streaky because he might hit 100 one month, the next month he'll hit 400. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a guy just taking that spot full time. Maybe it's just you rotate the guys based on how well they're playing. But I think the Yankees can deal with this. And it also does free up a DH spot where Stanton's not going to be DHing, obviously, because he's injured. You can maybe play, you can now play 5 infielders, not excluding your catcher, because you have the DH spot. It was a big thing we talked about heading into the year. You have your shortstop, whoever it would be, so Volpe. Then you have Rizzo, Torres, LeMahieu, and Donaldson. Those are all guys that you can't play at the same time. I understand Donaldson's currently injured right now, but you can also still, now you can throw in a Peraza, right? And give, LeMahieu a day at DH, right? Or you can do stuff like that. So I think it opens up flexibility for the Yankees.
Yeah, the one. So the silver lining to all this with Stanton going down is Stanton creates a logjam in that lineup. He's very redundant in the field. Aaron Judge is a better right fielder than Giancarlo Stanton. Giancarlo Stanton, he has proven he cannot go play left field without getting hurt. I mean, he can't slow down from running without getting hurt either, though. And then so you have that DH spot, which really, again, he's just in the DH spot every day, and you can't really rest guys that are a bit older that need it. So, now Rizzo gets a day at DH and LeMahieu plays first, or, LeMahieu DHs maybe a little bit more than he's used to DHing. I'm okay with that because it keeps him healthy or ideally would keep him healthy. And I don't want to see Isaiah kind of left in the outfield, but now this kind of opens up a spot with that DH spot where maybe you're DHing LeMahieu a little bit more. I'm totally open to putting Kiner Falefa at third base. He won the Gold Glove at third base, right, Derek?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, so he won the Gold Glove at third base a couple of years ago, and he's just a contact slap hitter, kind of what you got out of like what we loved about Gio Urshela is kind of what Isaiah Kiner Falefa could be at third base. Like I don't think with maybe a little bit less power, but just a slap hitter. He's going to do what he did last year. I'm okay.
He can steal some bases too.
Right, exactly, and I'm okay with that. Exactly. If he's going to steal bases, I'm okay with Kiner Falefa being in the lineup as a third baseman. And you're using that DH spot. LeMahieu plays second. Glaber DHs. Glaber's had hip issues. Why not use that DH spot for Glaber every now and then? So I think that there's a silver lining to all this. Now, as we were talking about the outfield, that's really where it starts getting complicated. Like it's a couple weeks before Harrison Bader's back, ideally, as we were, talking about. I don't really want Judge playing center field if he doesn't have to. But I don't know who else plays center field until Harrison Bader gets back. You can't put Oswaldo Cabrera there.
It's literally Kiner Falefa or Judge, it seems like at this point.
Yeah, exactly. So you're kind of stuck. So you got, you're gonna play Cabrera in left field full time, Judge in center field at the right time. And like you're saying, now you have that who's play the hot hand from that point out with Hicks, Calhoun, Franchi, but Franchi was just hot. So as much as we were enjoying rubbing it in on the group chat recently about Franchi,
it's not going to last.
Hot streak. Let's be honest here. That's his hot streak. It's not. It's going to be a couple weeks before we see something like that again. You can confirm that, Derek. So I'm not really expecting much out of Franchi Cordero these next couple weeks. So I'm hoping either Hicks. Yeah, right. All right, never mind. Hicks isn't going to step it up. So I'm hoping Willie Calhoun can step it up maybe, or I don't know. You got to figure it out from here. But that's the one spot who's going to play right field right now. I feel like I'm forgetting someone. Richie
Cordero, Hicks, Willie Calhoun are the other three outfielders on the active roster.
Yeah. Oh, right. And the other, and Florial's back on the team, but not on the 40-man. That was hilarious that he got. Yeah. The Yankees were so worried about what happens, and they had DFA'd him, and nobody wanted him, so he's back in the minor leagues with the Yankees.
Yeah, yeah. I find that hilarious. I remember Barnes was talking about, put Florial on the roster, let him play, and then he just gets DFA'd, which is hilarious.
I said it too. Caston was the only one that said not to. So, and with the Red Sox fans too, but we thought you were just giving us a hard time.
Yeah. Well, I love Franchi Cordero more than I think anyone in the Bleacher Brawls crew, but I've been a big Franchi guy, but it comes with the fact of the thought in the back. Yes, we love Franchi. I love Franchi, but at the same time, it's he kind of sucks at times. He has these he doesn't walk, he'll strike out a lot, he'll have non-competitive at bats, he'll make you pull your hair out. But that one home run he hits 470 feet is going to be more than worth all those strikeouts.
And do you think he could play left field in Yankee Stadium? Or is he strictly a right fielder?
He could play left and right. He's actually he's weird. I think he actually plays best defensively in center. He's worse in the corners than he is in center, but no one plays him in center.
Huh. Well, hey, now's your chance, Franchi. You got a couple of weeks until Bader gets back.
Yeah. It's because he used to be a shortstop in the minor leagues, and when the Padres first moved him to the outfield, because he had 50 errors in back-to-back seasons at shortstop. He was awful at short. So they moved him to the outfield, and they originally moved him to center, which is I think why he does play better by defensive metrics in center. But it's not like he's bad in left or right. It's just he plays better in center. But at the end of the day, the Yankees looking for a guy to step up. Bader comes back, that solves some problems. You can play Bader in center, Judge in right, and Cabrera in left, and that really helps you defensively as well. And then you kind of have the DH spot where it's just open between, like I said, you have right now, seemingly your infield's Rizzo, Torres, Volpe, and LeMahieu at third. Maybe a Donaldson comes back and LeMahieu.
No, let's not even entertain that idea.
Or maybe Oswald Peraza gets more playing time.
Johnson's not coming back. Let's just pretend that's not going to happen.
You're hoping he doesn't come back. More so. Oswald Peraza maybe gets more playing time. you still have Aaron Hicks there. The one thing I will say about the Yankees team, it is interesting because they do kind of now without Stanton, they kind of they could have more speed in their lineup. You look at we have Volpe's at 7 stolen bases. Gleyber Torres does have 5. I know we talked about it last week. Yankees don't necessarily want him stealing at least you don't want him stealing a ton of bases, and potentially risking injury. But he's got some speed there. I mean, Franchy Cordero can run a little bit, although Oswaldo Cabrera can run. Aaron Hicks can run a little bit, though he doesn't have a stolen base this year. But a guy like Peraza can run. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa stole 20 bases last year, right? So you could potentially see a little bit more speed in the Yankees lineup too, which maybe that adds another dimension to this lineup.
And one last question for you now. The Yankees have Everson Pereira on their 40-man roster, and I don't think he's ever played a game in the major leagues yet. Do you think at 22 years old, he can play center field? Do you think the Yankees should bring him up, or is he one of those guys that's just never going to make it?
So that'll never make it. I don't think you bring him up now.
No,
he's starting not now, no. Because he's starting the year in Double-A. So it's like here's the thing. Last year in Double-A, he in 123 games in Double-A, his strikeout rate 30.1% K rate.
Oh god.
You put him in the big leagues, he's going to strike out like once every other. He's going to strike out every other bat in the big leagues.
Okay, and I'm looking at it now. 124 strikeouts and 401 at bats. My God. All right, never mind.
It's not totally outrageous to see stupidly high strikeout numbers in the minor leagues. Like, it's not outrageous. You see it a lot, right, in the minor leagues. A lot of high strikeout numbers, especially for hitters, as they're still refining their approach and whatever. But then this year in Double-A, he's played 8 games. So it's a super small sample size, but he's got 32 plate appearances, and he struck out 15 times. So not necessarily the greatest, look there. And it's not saying that he can't be a good player. Obviously, he can be, and like he can still obviously, But so you look at it, you're going to bring in another guy who's very strikeout heavy into your lineup, and he hasn't even played in AAA yet. It's like slow the brakes a little bit. Like, and this is like a argument Red Sox fans have had with Cedar Rafaela. Although Pereira's not necessarily great in the field, whereas Rafaela could win a Gold Glove right now in the field for the Red Sox if they wanted to use him. But Rafaela has never played in AAA. He started this year in AA, and people are like, call him up. And it's like, no, he's not ready, right? Yes, he could win a Gold Glove in center now, but he hasn't even played in AAA yet. Like, let him develop. I feel like with Pereira for the Yankees, it's not the same. He doesn't have that defense or whatever that Rafaela does with the Red Sox. But in terms of, like, he hasn't played in AAA yet. I don't think he's necessarily needed right now. You don't want to risk his development just because you need an outfielder in the short term, right? You don't want to risk his long-term development because of that. So I think it's probably best let him stay in AA, let him figure it out. Maybe, hopefully, eventually this year for the Yankees, he plays well enough to where he can get called up to AAA, and then maybe you see him at some point in 2024. I don't think there's any reason to rush him. I don't think there's any reason necessarily to rush any prospect unless you have a full 100% belief that they're going to be like that generational type player and they can play in the MLB right away. That's the only time I think you should rush a prospect. So, any final thoughts on the whole Stanton injury and anything before we wrap up? You're muted.
Final thoughts on Stanton? Well, I think there's a silver lining to it. He was hitting great. I really thought he could help carry this team if he had the ability to stay healthy. But like you said, there's going to be some flexibility in the infield. I think DHing guys and giving them a little bit more rest is going to be a good thing. And the Yankees will get that outfield figured out over the next couple of weeks. If Harrison Bader is close to coming back, this is a manageable injury, and Stanton is what he is, man. The guy broke my heart.
Yeah, I think that's a good place. The Yankees, when they get Bader back, that'll be a big boost. But until then, they have enough guys to hopefully be able to figure it out for the Yankees' sake. But I think that's a great place to wrap it up. Yankees fans, let us know your thoughts in the comments on this whole Yankees outfield situation that they're going through right now with the Stanton injury, and all that. Let us know your thoughts on them calling up Oswald Peraza. Let us know your thoughts on that. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know from every post, and check out all our links in the description of the Bleacher Brawls website, podcast, Instagram, Twitter, plus all the crew's Twitters. For John, my name is Derek. Thanks for tuning in to Bleacher Brawls, and we'll see you next time.